Hey Robert, how are you? My name is Josh Koch. I'm Dana's lead assistant. Apologies for the slight delay. We were out of town teaching golf schools all last week, so um, usually the response time's a little bit quicker than that, so a little bit backed up. That being said, a lot of good things going on in the swing. I was kind of already looking at it. Um, for future reference, no biggie. You kind of see the camera angle is on the target line. Ideally, we would want it a little bit more in the stance line. Okay, so just basically run that camera down the stance line if you could next time. Um, that being said, there's like I said, there's a lot of good things really going on in this swing. Overall posture for the most part is fairly good. One of the things you'll see is a pretty intense connection between that left arm and the pec. Okay, so um, that being said, you'll see how, in the takeaway, because that left arm's so low on that pec or so attached, okay, everything tends to want to work a little bit steeper. Shoulders want to work a little bit steeper. You can see that body's trying to pivot, right elbow's moving a little bit more behind you. Not overly concerning, more or less just kind of pointing it out because it plays a role in the pitch of the shaft. So ideally, the steeper the shaft gets, the backswing length has to actually be longer to give it more time to shallow. So having more of a shorter backswing, which is fine. Okay, ideally we'd want to see the pitch of that shaft be a little bit more less as across. Okay, that will give you, the ability to kind of rotate from there and square everything up. So kind of to go over that, once again, when you see the attachment so low on this pec, okay, over here, what happens is as you start to move, and really it's a byproduct. What that does is when the arms are that low, you see the humerus angle sit back. Okay, so if this is 90 degrees, ideally we would want those humerus bones hanging on the opposite side of that. Like I said, camera angle is a little bit off. I'm going to film you a drill video kind of explaining all this. But when it gets too low, obviously arm gets trapped. Okay, as the body starts to pivot, shaft gets a little bit steeper, right elbow starts to abduct behind this way. And what that does is it causes the pitch shaft to get a little bit steeper. Okay, so like I said, if backswing's a little bit longer, that's not an issue. Having a little bit of a shorter backswing, ideally you'd want to get that shaft a little bit less across. Other than that, the structure of the pivot looks very good, very orthodox, very functional. So really good stuff. Now, what this will do is having the shaft or not as across will allow you the ability to kind of get this body firing out of the way, okay, to the point where we would want to see the rotation sort of pull these knees square by P5 or left arm parallel in downswing. Once again, a little bit of parallax there, camera angle slightly off, but if that happens, this left leg starts to disappear a lot faster. That rotary force will then cause this shaft to sort of lay down a little bit more. Okay. Ultimately, with the goal of slowing down the amount of lateral motion of the pelvis. So you can kind of see how your pelvis finishes pretty far out ahead of everything. Left leg pretty far forward, which is okay. Ideally, you'll see a lot of these guys who have a lot better rotation. Their left leg will actually finish back more, a little bit more at an angle. And what that does is it allows the pelvis to keep rotating. Okay, so if we have the pelvis and we got both sides of each hip, okay, and both sides of the pelvis are sort of moving in the direction of the target, we don't quite get any rotation. Okay, so we want this pelvis rotating. That being said, if that left side is sort of pulling back, and this is this side here is the posterior side, and the front side is sort of moving that way, what we do is we create a force couple, okay, which creates rotation in that pelvis. It's no different than if we had a bottle cap and we were trying to twist the cap. We would have to get our fingers moving in opposite directions on the bottle cap to actually create rotation. Okay, if both fingers are going in the same direction, there's no way to actually twist the bottle cap up. So, like I said, overall, pretty structurally intact. Gaining a little bit more space in the backswing will help change that pitch to the shaft, give you a little bit more of the ability to kind of clear, and then from there, really feeling like this rib cage in the transition, okay, is quite simply getting out of the way. Okay, so we want to feel like this rib cage is moving and rotating as this left arm stays up across the chest. But you could kind of see, because of the tendencies of the backswing, everything's a little bit kind of bunched up in this vicinity. There's a little bit of a lack of space. So I'm going to film you a drill video kind of explaining how to go about working on this, and then feel free to touch base with a follow-up. Thanks.